Have you ever had a moment where you said something that you knew would impress your friends or colleagues, and then there was a total awkward silence? Or you post a picture that you're sure is going to do well, but nobody likes it? The world moves fast, my friend, and your idea of what's impressive might be embarrassingly outdated. And you can't afford to make those mistakes when you're launching your empire or pushing forward in your career, but fear not, my friend, we got you covered. In this video, we're breaking down 15 things that don't impress people the way you might think they do, and how avoiding these can lead to deeper respect and stronger connections. Let's dive in. Number 1. Taking photos of cash. Ugh, cringe. Most people assume that if you truly have money, you don't need to prove it to anyone. Studies on human behavior show that obvious displays of wealth can actually make people more skeptical and suspicious. The stacks of bills casually tossed on a table are meant to scream, "Look how successful I am," but do they? Do they really? Genuine wealth is quiet, built on investments, businesses, and assets, not flaunted in pictures. Social proof works differently now. Subtle signals like financial literacy or philanthropy carry far more weight than flexing your currency. Real wealth is about creating value, not chasing validation. If you're taking photos of cash, ask yourself, who am I trying to impress here, and is this the best way to do it? Spoiler alert, it's probably not. Number 2, name dropping. Now here's the thing, okay? Research in psychology shows that people value authenticity and mutual respect in conversations. When someone name drops, it can come across as self-serving, and it shows insecurity, not importance. Connections are impressive only when they're paired with something that you've built or contributed to. The next time you're tempted to name drop, ask yourself if the name actually adds to the story or just fills a silence. If it doesn't really bring value to the story, then let that name rest and focus on what you bring to the table. Number 3, saying you work 80+ hours. Announcing you work 80 hours a week isn't the badge of honor it used to be. In fact, it might even be a red flag. Burnout is now a global health problem, and the World Health Organization classifies it as a workplace syndrome. Let that sink in for a second. Long hours aren't a sign of productivity. No, they're a sign of poor time management or a lack of boundaries. These days, when someone brags about their schedule, most people's first thought isn't, "Wow, they're so hardworking and impressive." It's actually more like, is this person okay? They need a better work-life balance. Working excessive hours doesn't just harm your mental and physical health, it also makes you less efficient. The human brain is wired for breaks, and overwork often leads to diminishing returns. Instead of saying you work 80+ hours, try talking about what you're passionate about or how you're solving problems in your work. It's far more interesting than glorifying your exhaustion. Number 4, having only surface-level information on a variety of topics. In today's world of instant information, it's easy to skim the surface of multiple subjects without really diving into any of them. At first, this might seem like an advantage. You're versatile and you can contribute to any conversation. But people quickly notice when someone is only repeating headlines or sound bites. And it sounds, well, immature. Like the child at a park repeating what an adult said and having no idea what it actually means. When you can't answer follow-up questions, your credibility crumbles, okay? But someone with even a little bit of genuine knowledge on a subject, they stand out. Having that depth shows commitment, curiosity, and respect for the topic. You'll do so much better in conversations if you focus on a few areas that genuinely interest you. It's better to be deeply informed about 3 things than to know only a little bit about 30 things. It'll make your conversations feel richer, and it'll draw people to you. Number 5, talking about your connections without backing it up. Now, everyone's heard someone say, "Oh, I know so-and-so," only to realize there's no evidence to back up what you're saying. You're not friends with the chef just because you ate at their restaurant once. When you drop vague mentions of connections without showing how they're relevant, you can come across as hollow. Worse, people might think you're inflating your social capital to seem more important than you are. When your relationships are genuine, you don't have to advertise them. It'll come through naturally in your stories, collaborations, or the quality of your work. Don't claim to have connections when you can't actually back it up, because it'll make people question your credibility. Like if someone you knew told you that they were working on a project and only later on you found out they worked with a major figure, how much more impressive is that? The quiet confidence has a far more memorable impact. Number 6, bragging about how much you drink. Look, okay, talking about how much alcohol you can handle is cool when you're just entering university and drinking for the first time. Those who mature faster, and eventually, know that it's actually a really cringy thing to keep mentioning how f***ed up we got last night, man. And it is definitely not something you want to brag about in professional circles. For most people, it just raises eyebrows. There's a point when it's no longer about being fun or adventurous. You're actually telling people that you're reckless, that you don't have self-awareness, and that you have no idea how social etiquette and cues work. Moderation and being able to control yourself earns a lot more respect than excessive drinking. It shows you can have fun and let loose while staying in control of yourself. Nobody remembers the person who drank too much at the party, at least for no reasons that are good. People remember the person who had meaningful conversations or who brought good energy to the room. Bragging about how much you drink does not impress people. It just makes them wonder if you are overcompensating for something. Number 7, flexing your expensive watch. Look, flashing luxury watches is supposed to scream success, but most of the time it just says, "I want you to notice me." Watches can catch someone's eye if they show taste, history, or craftsmanship, but when they're used to validate your worth, they kinda lose their charm. Nobody cares what's on your wrist if there's nothing deeper to back it up. People respect wealth when it's subtle, when it's a byproduct of purpose and achievement. If the only takeaway someone has about you is, "Nice watch," well, you've already lost their attention. Number 8, showing off gym selfies all the time. Look, gym selfies can be inspiring until they're not. Flooding your feed with daily shots of your workout grind doesn't make people think that you're disciplined. It makes them think you're looking for validation. Fitness isn't about who posts the most mirror selfies, it's about consistency and results. People are impressed by the energy you bring to the table, the confidence you carry, and the quiet example you set, not by how many times you flexed in front of a locker room mirror. You don't need to broadcast every gym session for people to see the work. If you're genuinely putting in the effort, the results will speak louder than those selfies ever could. Number 9, claiming you never sleep because you're grinding. Saying you're too busy hustling to sleep used to sound ambitious, but now it just sounds straight up unhealthy. Research has shown us time and time again that when you don't rest, your productivity levels drop and you lose those fast, effective decision-making skills. The world's most successful people, they don't boast about skipping sleep. No, they optimize their time so they can work hard and rest well. When you brag about not sleeping, it doesn't say, "Look how dedicated I am." No, it says, "I don't know how to manage my time." People respect balance, okay, not burnout. Real success is waking up refreshed, getting the job done, and still having time for the things that matter. Number 10, constantly interrupting to prove your point. Interrupting someone mid-sentence doesn't make you look sharp. It makes you look insecure. Conversations are about exchanging ideas, not one-upping the other person. When you cut people off, you're not showing confidence, you're showing that you value your own thoughts more than theirs. And that isn't a good look. The most respected people in the room are often the quietest because they take the time to listen. They know that understanding someone else's perspective gives their own words more weight. Respect isn't earned by dominating the conversation. No, it is earned by knowing when to speak and when to listen. Number 11, talking down to people to sound smart. Acting like the smartest person in the room rarely wins you points. When someone talks down to others, it doesn't come across as intelligence, it comes across as insecurity. True knowledge is humble. It invites curiosity, not intimidation. People don't remember facts and figures that you throw at them to sound impressive. No, they remember how you made them feel. Speaking in a way that connects and uplifts leaves a much better impression than trying to dominate the conversation by sounding clever. The smartest people know that making others feel smart is far more impactful than showing off your own knowledge. If you have to belittle others to seem intelligent, you're not as smart as you think. Number 12. Flashing designer logos everywhere. Like the money photos and the fancy watch flashes, head-to-toe, in-your-face designer clothing is more awkward than impressive. It might grab attention, sure, but not in the way that you would hope. It doesn't say successful, it says I'm trying way too hard over here. People respect style, but they admire taste even more. And taste has less to do with price tags and more to do with subtlety. Wearing designer logos as if they're your identity tells people that you are chasing status, not creating it. The truly wealthy often dress down because they don't need external validation. They let their work, values, and confidence speak for them. Logos shouldn't wear you, you should wear them. The most impressive look is the one that reflects who you are, not what you can afford. Number 13. Complaining about being single as if it's an achievement. Now, being single isn't inherently a problem or anything, or a badge of honor. By all means, do whatever makes you feel the happiest. But just because you choose a certain lifestyle doesn't mean that you should make it sound better than anybody else's choice. When someone constantly brings it up as if it's proof of independence or a rejection of societal norms, it often sounds defensive, not empowering. There's strength in being single when it's framed as a choice, time to focus on growth, pursue your own passions, or build a life you want. But constantly talking about how great it is can make people wonder if you're trying to convince yourself or them. Being in a relationship or not doesn't define you. What defines you is how you show up in your life, whether single or partnered. This should be about the life you're building, not the status you're avoiding. Number 14. Humble bragging about your natural talent. Have you ever complimented someone only to have them respond with something like, "Oh, it wasn't too hard for me, I don't know why everyone doesn't do it"? It makes you want to roll your eyes, right? That response seems almost patronizing and doesn't inspire any admiration. It just makes you not want to compliment that person ever again. Most people are naturally good at something. It comes easier to them than others, but there's no reason to brag about it. Making success sound easy and effortless doesn't make you special. It makes you sound like you're out of touch. Talent is great, okay, but hard work is what really earns respect. People admire the effort, the grit, and the story behind how you got there. Pretending it all came to you easily, well, that just robs you of the chance to connect with others on a deeper level. And number 15, repeating the same success story over and over again. Now, telling the same story about that one big win might get you applause the first time, but that charm wears off quickly. If you keep circling back to a single moment, it starts to feel like that's all you've got. Success is meant to build momentum, okay, not nostalgia. People are drawn to those who keep pushing forward, not to those who live in the past. It's great to celebrate your wins, absolutely, but if the highlight reel is stuck on one scene, it's time to make some new content. The best stories are the ones that are still being written. If you are always looking back, other people might stop looking over here at all. At the end of the day, real impact doesn't come from showing off, Aluxer, it comes from showing up. People are drawn to authenticity, humility, and how you make them feel, not showing off and shouting out. Thanks for spending some time with us today, Aluxer. We're so glad you did. And as always, if you've got anything to add to this list, leave a comment. Let's battle it out down there. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friend, or save it for your future self. We'll see you back here tomorrow, Aluxer. Until then, take care.